Hello, everybody. I'm Ron Miscavige, and this is another episode of Story Time. And these stories that I read to you are out of two humorous books that I wrote. The one today is out of a book called Hideouts for Midgets on the Lam, and there's another one that I read stories out of, which is called True Confessions of a Kid. So, without any further words, let me get into today's story, and it's called The Recreation Room. Life in the suburbs was good. A nice colonial house, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and a recreational field within a half a block of where we lived. This recreational field had 2 football fields, 2 baseball fields, and an Olympic-sized swimming pool where I taught all of my kids to swim by the time they were 4 years old and dive off the 3-meter board by the time they were 5. Pretty nice town to live in and raise kids. We also had a dog named Fluffy. And if he didn't like you, and we had no parameters at what constitute him liking you or not, he would bite you. He wouldn't bark at you. He would just flat out bite you. You knew he was going to bite you. I'll give you that again. You knew he was going to bite someone if he, as he confronted them, looked to the side and didn't say anything like that. And then all of a sudden he would lunge at his target and bite. Of course, we knew his method of operation, so if I saw him go into his sideways look, I would grab him and hold him and stop him from going into his full-out attack. And fortunately, Fluffy would always obey me. One of those things we had to have was a recreation room. And to do this, I hired someone to build a shell, and my dad and I finished off the interior, which ended up costing me a lot less. This room was our favorite room in the entire house. 27 feet long by 15 feet out, black walnut paneling, Italian-style tile for the floor, and a slant ceiling with 4 by 12-inch beams with white paneling between each beam. Topping this off was a baby grand piano with a round 60s cracked orange plastic chain lamp that hung over the piano. Looked beautiful. One problem, no heat in this room. So to handle this, I had to run a gas line out from the end of our house and then to the back of the rec room, which would feed the gas heater I bought to heat up this room. As an aside, prior to building this rec room, I decided to put up a fenced-in area in back of our house so I could put out 2 of my kids and not worry about them running out into the street. So one weekend when my dad was visiting with me, we went to a local hardware store, bought some fencing, stakes to wire the fencing to, and a gate to complete our little enclosure. We came home, went to work, and by dinner we were finished with this little project. Here comes the litmus test. I go in the house, get my kids, who by the way were twins, good looking as all get out. Take them out the door, show them their play area, and without hesitating for a moment, they both climbed over the fence and looked at me and my dad. We just looked at each other and laughed. Now, here's the crux of the story. You remember I mentioned having to run a gas line from one end of the house to the back of the rec room, and I would have fuel for my gas heater in the back wall of the rec room. And I skipped the page. Here we go. To do this, we had to dig a 2-foot deep ditch to put this gas line in, and around my house, the ground turned into clay about 1 foot down. In other words, it was a bitch to dig. I couldn't even hire someone to dig it for any amount of money, so I was forced into digging it myself. When I was doing this, my neighbors in the back, on the side of my house, and diagonally in the back, all came out and ended up watching me dig this ditch. Then the neighbor in the back went in his house, made a pitcher of martinis, and they all drank martinis watching me dig this ditch. I finished it, hooked up the gas line, and we had heat in the room. But it was a moment for me to remember. Me digging a ditch, neighbors drinking martinis, watching me dig this ditch. I wonder if the Egyptians drank martinis while the slaves built the pyramids. Now there's something to ponder. I might be onto something here. End of story. And I'll tell you, that was a moment to remember. It was almost unbelievable with them standing there drinking martinis, talking about everything, and me plugging away. Anyway, that's today's story time. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you'd like to see what else I do, you can go to my website, therealronmiscavige.com, and you'll see I do other stuff. And if you want, you can purchase these books. There's a way to get it by going on the website. So that's it for today's story time. I hope you enjoyed it and gave you a relaxing moment, a little relief from your life, whatever is going on in it right now. And from me to you, until the next story time, I say, I wish you health, I wish you happiness, and God bless all of you. Until the next time, I'm Ron Miscavige, your storytime teller. See you on the next episode. Bye-bye for now.